As we move into Holy Week, the tone begins to shift. Palm Sunday was full of energy and crowds and celebration and expectation, but Holy Monday feels different. The noise fades, the crowd thins, and we see what happens next that reveals something deeper about Jesus. On Holy Monday, Scripture shows us two powerful moments. Jesus clears the temple, and he curses a fig tree. At first glance, those moments can feel confusing and maybe even unsettling, but when we look closer, they reveal something incredibly important about the heart of God toward us. In Matthew chapter 21, we're told that Jesus enters the temple courts and sees people buying and selling, money changers and merchants, and business happening in a place that was meant for worship. And Jesus does something that we don't always expect. He turns over the table. He drives these people out, and he says, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of thieves." Now, if we're not careful, we might read this and think this is just anger, but it's more than that. This isn't a loss of control. This is a revelation of God's heart. Because what Jesus is confronting isn't just activity, it's misplaced priorities. The temple was meant to be a place where people could meet with God, but it had become crowded with other things. And when Jesus sees that, he responds. See, the heart of God is not indifferent when we drift. He doesn't stand far off watching us slowly move away. He moves toward us, even if that means disrupting what we've grown comfortable with. And Holy Monday reminds us that God's heart toward us is not to abandon us in that drift, it's to call us back. Later in the day, Jesus approaches a fig tree looking for fruit, but there isn't any. He curses it and it withers. But this moment isn't really about the tree, it's about what the tree represents. See, the fig tree looked alive. It had leaves. It gave the appearance of fruit. But when Jesus got close, there wasn't anything there. And this is where the message of Holy Monday cuts deep, but it also brings hope. Because it speaks to something we all wrestle with. The gap between what our lives look like on the outside and what's actually happening on the inside. It is possible to look spiritually alive, to say the right things, to do the right things, to go through the motions, and yet still be empty. And Jesus sees that. Not from far away, but up close. Personally. The heart of God isn't satisfied with appearances. He wants something real. The same Jesus who clears the temple and confronts the fig tree is the same Jesus who is on his way to the cross. He doesn't expose what's empty in us and walk away. He moves toward us to make us new. Holy Monday reminds us that God's heart toward us isn't passive. It's active and pursuing and restoring. He loves us enough to confront what's in the way, and he loves us enough to make a way forward. So today, take a moment to ask, what has taken up space in my life that belongs to God? Where have I settled for appearance instead of connection? And what would it look like to let him clear space again? Because the same God who turns over tables is the God who restores hearts. And that is very good news.